Welcome to Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. I'm a retired 20-year veteran sergeant of the Los Angeles Police Department, and I am not afraid to pull the covers back, expose that thin blue line, and talk to you honestly and candidly about police training, police policy, and a whole lot about police culture. Welcome to Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. There's a video out now of the deadly shooting of Ahmaud Arbery. So I wanted to come back to you and do a little bit of an update, follow-up, if you will, to talk about what the video depicts, okay? So, you know, I've got some problems with the video, and of course it always was problematic, the story that these two McMichael people put forth. There was alleged to have been a male black wearing a white t-shirt seen in a building that was under construction the day before the incident. These two knuckleheads said that Ahmaud resembled, I'm trying to get in the camera frame with my air quotes, resembled this suspect. Why? Well, because he's a male black and he happened to have on a white t-shirt. And they were going to effect a citizen's arrest. Now remember, this happened back in February of this year. And so now, just now, this video is being made public. So my question is, where the heck has the video been? In whose custody? Because someone knew that it existed. Now, you know, the father, I think his name is Gregory McMichael, is a former retired investigator in the district attorney's office. So that might have something to do with all of the cover-up that I believe was going on for the last few months with regards to this thing not being investigated properly, no charges to be filed. As a matter of fact, justification was given that this was their right by the DA, their right to effect a citizen's arrest and stop Ahmaud because he fit the description. And so I want you to take a look at the video in case that you haven't already seen it, and then we'll talk a little bit more on the other side. Okay, so here's the deal. We know that there were 3 shots fired, and I don't know if all 3 hit Ahmaud. But here's what I want to know. Here's what's troubling for me. First of all, who's following them and recording this? Because listen, if you're driving down the street and you see something, you're not going to be automatically recording, number one. And number two, if you see a vehicle pull over or stop in the middle of the street and you're on your way somewhere, wouldn't your reflex be to just go around them and continue on to where you were going? So was this thing all set up? Was this going to be a evidence trophy or something that they were going to keep to show and talk about and brag over a beer later about how they just shot this young black man? The person pulls over, is already recording what's going on. Why? And does it make sense that if you're being confronted by someone with a shotgun, or does it not make sense that if you're being confronted by someone with a shotgun that you're not going to do the very best that you can to defend yourself? He was unarmed, but you see him trying to defend himself. So how is it then that 2 armed white people with a gun following, pursuing, tracking down Ahmaud is somehow defending themselves? It flies in the face of everything. And listen, if they knew that this video existed because they were a part of it being recorded, was that their arrogance that led them to believe they could put forth this story and not have it come to where we would see the video? I don't understand. I'm just bothered by who took that video. And so now here we are, because great pressure was put on the investigative authority, the district attorney's office, to do something by the family and others, me and all of you who hear me, and those of you who signed the petition as I did on the change.org website requesting something be done. And so now the district attorney, after having been passed from one DA to another because of a conflict of interest, now the current DA, Tom Durden, said he's going to present this to a grand jury and have a grand jury decide whether or not there's sufficient evidence to charge Travis McMichael, the son, who's 34 years old, with having shot and killed Ahmaud. Now, I don't know ultimately, obviously, whether or not the grand jury is going to get this anytime soon, because what I'm reading is that, in the midst of this pandemic, the grand jury is not paneled, but I get that it's Georgia. And, I don't have any great confidence that they're going to do the right thing unless we continue to hold their feet to the fire. But listen, if a couple of days ago, the Supreme Court of the United States could figure out a way to convene and hear arguments and present whatever it is that they needed to present, surely over in little old Georgia, they ought to be able to figure out how to get on Zoom with a damn grand jury and let them hear whatever evidence there is to hear and see with regards to whether or not charges should be filed. So I'll continue to monitor this. I'm sure you will continue to pay attention to what's going on. And if there's an opportunity for you to scratch out an email, write a letter, tweet to District Attorney Tom Durden over in, I think it's Gwinnett County, Georgia, and insist that this grand jury be impaneled and able to hear the evidence so that this thing doesn't get swept under the rug, and so that they don't think that because, a little bit of passage of time has gone on that somehow we have forgotten and are not paying attention. Now, there are a couple of attorneys who are representing the family in this matter, and I don't even have to tell you who they are. You know the two who pop up every time somebody who looks like me and some of you is killed. So, I'm sure if they could have a press conference, they would, because that's what they do. We'll see what happens, and I'll continue to bring back more information as I hear it and see it, and just tell you what I think about it. But I have a lot of questions about this video, as I said, and the person who recorded it, and the assertion that somehow this was their right, the McMichaels, this was their right to confront young Ahmaud, because they believed that he fit a description of someone. And listen, while I'm talking about he fit the description, who put forth this description about this suspect the day before? It wasn't McMichaels. So who was it that said they saw a black man? And how is it that now you can just automatically ascribe any black man? Because listen, that could have been anybody. Just happened to be Ahmaud who was out there seen with a white t-shirt on. White t-shirt is something that, our brothers and uncles and husbands wear with a pair of pants. So how is it that they came to say that this male black fit the description and was in fact the suspect from the day before, if there was even a suspect the day before? I can't even validate and verify that that information is correct. This is something that they're saying, and now that we know they'll lie, right, because they lied about defending themselves, that was a lie. So this whole premise of there was a male black in a white t-shirt seen in an abandoned building, okay, how is that a crime? It's not. And so it's offensive, and I'm bothered. I'm so bothered by this because, listen, but for the grace of God, I have 4 sons, and he could have been my son out jogging. And so we have got to ensure that this thing is handled properly so that there's not another Ahmaud. I believe, sadly, tragically, there will be. But in this instance, at the very least, I hope that this family is able to find some kind of closure and comfort, resolution, and ultimately justice. The McMichaels should not be allowed to get away with this. Ahmaud is not here. We don't get to hear his story. We don't get to hear what he was doing, what he was not doing. And so we need to stand in solidarity with the family and be his voice. I will continue to come back and let you know as I know more. And until next time, family, be good, be safe. Support my mission by visiting my CashApp and Venmo, Sergeant Dorsey Speaks, or purchase my autobiography, Black and Blue, The Creation of a Social Advocate.